Good afternoon, and welcome to the Penn State community. I'm Eric Barron, and we're thrilled to have you, the future class of 2025, and those transferring to our great university. We're so pleased to have you join us today. First, I want to congratulate you on your offers of admission to Penn State. You're part of a talented new cohort, and we're excited to call you Penn Staters. We want to take this opportunity to celebrate your hard work and achievements. You've already accomplished so much through a time of unprecedented challenge. Embarking on the college journey is truly a special moment, and there's a great deal to look forward to at Penn State. We also understand you may have questions about what to expect, and we're hosting this discussion to let you hear directly from other Penn Staters. We hope their stories will be inspiring as you begin to envision the incredible Penn State experience ahead of you. We will discuss topics such as our plan to transition to a full on-campus learning environment in the fall, the student experience, the unparalleled strength of the Penn State community, the value of a Penn State education, and our flexibility to meet your individual needs. I want to introduce you to the members of the Penn State community joining me today. Damon Sims, who is Vice President for Student Affairs and is committed to fostering the best experience for students at Penn State. Jackie Edmondson, who's Chancellor at Penn State Greater Allegheny, one of our Commonwealth campuses, and has an extensive career at Penn State helping our students grow through meaningful and lifelong connections. Clarence Lang, who is Susan Welch Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Professor of African American Studies, and is committed to providing rich learning opportunities for our students. Scarlett Miller, who is one of our outstanding faculty members and is Director of our Engineering Design program at Penn State, as well as Associate Professor of Engineering Design and Industrial Engineering. She's an expert in innovation, human-computer interaction, engineering design, and human factors product design. Ninad Mahajan, who is in the class of 2021 and has been a part of the THREAD Engineering Design Group and the Presidential Leadership Academy, and who is in an incoming engineering development program with Johnson & Johnson. Aaron Boaz, who is in the class of 2022 and has been part of the Omega Phi Alpha National Service Sorority, University Park Undergraduate Association, and Thon, which is the world's largest student-run philanthropy. Janaya Davis, who is in the class of 2023 and has been a part of the Student Restorative Justice Initiative, World in Conversation, and the Penn State Student Black Caucus. Before we dive into our discussion, I want to say how proud I am to be a part of this community. In navigating the pandemic, Penn Staters, like those you'll hear from today, have shown incredible resilience. We've supported one another with a pride and commitment that sets Penn State apart. And we were successful in our efforts, successful in getting students to the finish line and keeping faculty, staff, and students on campus. We're an even stronger as a university community today, as seen in our support of one another's health and safety, commitment to social justice, and engagement through technology and innovation. Now, I'm very excited for all of us to be fully engaged, face-to-face, once again in on-campus life. Because of the rollout of vaccines and improved public health projections through the spring and summer, we're planning a phased return over the summer semester to a full on-campus learning environment for fall. What a wonderful position you are in to start thinking about the experience that awaits you here in the summer and fall and over the next 4 years. Today, as we look ahead to all the possibilities that being together as a community offers, we're excited to highlight what this means for you. We hope to give you a glimpse into the full on-campus experience for which Penn State is known. We're also offering limited tours for accepted students throughout the end of April, and we plan to offer more tours for additional admitted students and prospective students in May and June, which we will communicate when they're available. The health and safety of our entire community is always our priority. We'll continue to monitor circumstances and guidance from government and public health authorities. And we know some of you may have specific health or other needs that require us to provide you with flexibility and support. Rest assured that Penn State is uniquely prepared to meet individual needs. One of the best things you can do is start your experience at Penn State now. When you come to Penn State, you're joining a community of people dedicated to bringing positive impact to humanity. It is no surprise that we're in the ranks of our nation's top 1% of universities, and it is well known that our graduates will be among the most qualified and sought after by employers because of their education here. We help our students reach their goals, and our largest living alumni network opens doors well into the future. We're a community that looks out for one another and cheers each other on toward success. This is now your community, one that will support you throughout your life. Now let's go ahead and move into today's discussion. Damon, I'd like to start with you. You know, the campus experience here is famous. What can you expect as a incoming student for the types of activities outside the classroom? And what do you have planned for the summer and fall?
Well, as you know, President Barron, there are few things that produce more anticipation for us than welcoming new students and their families to Penn State. So it's really quite an achievement simply to be accepted for admission to the university. So I want to start by congratulating each of the students joining us for that achievement. What I know with absolute certainty is that no university in this country has a student body that's more deeply attached to it than Penn State. I'm sure many of you chose to apply here partly because you know how popular this place is to students. And that popularity is not at all accidental. It's a direct correlation to the extraordinary richness of the Penn State student experience, both in the classroom and beyond. You'll find that each Penn State campus has a unique personality and appeal, but they all add up to a university with more than 1,000 student organizations, everything from a 3D printing club to a concrete canoe team, an economics think tank, performing arts council, and a clown nose club. I'll tell you what the clown nose club is when you get here. It's impossible to imagine not finding a group to join that interests you, but if you do, we'll help you form a new group that does interest you. Just bring a fresh idea for an organization with you. If music or theater or politics or camping or sports or poetry or e-gaming or magic or almost anything you can think of is what you like, you'll find opportunities for it at Penn State and new friends who share your interests. Better yet, if there's something you've never tried but think you might like, Penn State is the place to stretch yourself, to discover new skills and interests and make new friends in the process. We call it finding your why, and whether it's a student leadership opportunity or joining a cause or committing yourselves fully to a new area of interest and exploration, all these experiences will bring you the connections and personal relationships, that sense of belonging that make this university yours. There simply is no place quite like Penn State. And in the months to come, as we all push through this pandemic, we plan to return our students, as President Barron said, to the many enriching experiences that have always made this place special. It's been a tough year for all of us, but the next 4 years promise to each of you the magic that is the Penn State student experience. In fact, President Barron will be hosting a campus-wide competition very soon where the winner gets to compete against the president, and I hope to persuade him to do more of the same next fall, but you'll hear more about that later. For now, just know that I can't wait to welcome all of you in the class of 2025 to this remarkable university and a student experience that simply is unmatched in all of higher education.
Well, thank you, Damon. You know, Jackie, there are some students I've talked to who say they come to Penn State just because they value that really strong sense of community. What makes that community special?
Well, I want to start by also extending my congratulations, as you and Damon did, to the students who were accepted to Penn State. This is a tremendous accomplishment, and I'm so excited for each and every one of you. Penn State's community is really special because of the people who are part of it. You meet Penn Staters every day, no matter where you might be in the world. And one of the things I love most about being a chancellor is getting to hear the stories of Penn Staters, whether they're alumni or current students. And so over the years, I've learned that Penn State's community is one of the most welcoming and supportive you're going to find anywhere. Our faculty and staff work really hard to build community both in and outside of the classroom while providing opportunities for students to learn from one another. One example is at Greater Allegheny through our course-based undergraduate research experience, which we call the CURE, not the British rock band. But this is an interdisciplinary opportunity for any student who's interested to engage in research. You don't need to be an honor student or have a minimum grade point average to be involved in the CURE research experiences. And I'm really excited about the CURE this fall because our students and faculty will use newly renovated state-of-the-art facilities in our Ostermeyer lab building. The faculty involved in CURE come from the sciences and engineering, and they work with students to develop research questions and investigations. And the students benefit from the broader network our faculty enjoy. That network extends from Pittsburgh to other campuses, to other parts of the country, and even to places like Australia and New Zealand, where one of our professors, Dr. Elandra Call, does some of her research on water quality. The students seem to really benefit from the close-knit affinity group they form with their peers in the research lab. And they're such a tight-knit group. It's wonderful to see them come together as they develop their questions, do their investigations, and ultimately present their research at our research exhibition and at other locations.
Well, thank you so much. And Clarence, you know, of course, the students are keenly interested in what the learning environment is like at Penn State. Can you give some insight into that?
Happy to do so. Let me also echo my congratulations to all of the students on their acceptances as well. And this is one of the things that ties me very much to the institution, the learning and teaching environment at Penn State. We have stellar faculty and scholars. We have world-class instructors. And I'll say this to the students, you'll be coming to Penn State at a very important moment where our faculty, our staff, and our students are thinking and talking of new ways of being and engaging the world, addressing, identifying, and redressing, hopefully, the various issues and concerns and problems that pertain to our society. So this is a very generative moment, I believe, to be at Penn State. I'll also add that one of the things that I've been struck by is someone who's coming up on the end of his second year, so I've not been here terribly long. There really is something about the strength of the community among the alumni that Penn Staters have these experiences that they take with them for the rest of their lives and their careers. And I see that every day through the loyalty of alumni, certainly in the College of Liberal Arts, but more broadly at Penn State in terms of how they're supporting different kinds of scholarships and other activities and ventures for students. And lastly, I'll say, and I think I speak for more than just my own college. I think that this is true of Penn State more broadly, but it's the idea of taking what happens in the classroom, what happens outside of the classroom, and thinking about how that contributes to what I'll call career readiness in terms of preparing for multiple and diverse career trajectories so that you can build not just meaningful careers, but also meaningful lives. In liberal arts, we have, for example, a career enrichment network, which exists as a way of helping to actively and deliberately promote, if you will, professional development activities, internship opportunities for our students, so that the learning continues over the course of their lifetime, but also preparedness for, again, multiple and diverse careers. You'll hear me say that probably a couple of times over the course of this event. So very good time to be at Penn State.
Thank you very much, Clarence. Scarlett, as a faculty member, how do you promote engagement in the classroom? And how do you take this incredible research university and connect it to the classroom.
Yeah, first, thank you, President Barron. And I want to join my colleagues in extending a very warm welcome to Penn State and the Penn State community. I think this is an excellent question and something that I think our faculty here at Penn State do extremely well. So one of the ways I engage my students in the classroom is through our first year engineering cornerstone course. It's EDSGN 100, and that class is actually taught at 20 of our Commonwealth campuses. It's a required class for most of our engineering students, and it's really our students' first look into what engineering is and what impact they can have as being a Penn State engineer. In this course, we really engage with a lot of hands-on opportunities in our maker spaces and campuses and through our small team projects. And we also engage with industry by having industry-sponsored projects in the courses as well. I think what's unique and really unique about this from both the student perspective and a faculty perspective is while we have a really large number of incoming students into the College of Engineering every year, that class is only 32 students, which means that one of your very first classes, you have a really tight connection with your faculty members. And I know that I really appreciate that, getting to know that my students one-on-one through those courses as well. In addition to that, I think we really try to engage our students in research and learning. And we mean that not just for master's and PhD students, but from undergraduates as well. And I think that's really important because my career, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have the undergraduate research experiences I did at my alma mater. And because of that, I really find it invaluable to bring undergraduate students into my lab and really as early as their freshman year. So we have faculty members come and talk about their research projects in our courses and really try to engage and invite students to participate as early as possible. So one of the projects I have an undergraduate helping me on right now is a project sponsored by the National Institutes of Health, where we've actually developed a robot to help train surgeons to insert central lines into the heart. So this collaboration involves the College of Engineering, the College of Medicine down at Hershey, and also extends beyond Penn State, including Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. I think we're really trying to show our students that they can revolutionize the field and shape their future in education and research through their experiences here at Penn State. And our faculty are really pioneers in their fields. They're really game changers in their domains. And we really try to instill that idea of game changing to our students to empower them to go out and do that as well.
Thank you, Scarlett. Nanad, I knew when you were a student in the class I teach 3 years ago that you were going to do great things. And I tell you, I am just thrilled at the job opportunity you have at Johnson & Johnson. I hope you're going to be incredibly successful. It seems to me that with your Penn State experience and now leaving as a senior, you could tell everyone listening, what is it like to become acclimated at Penn State and feel like you're a part of this community?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for those kind words, Dr. Barron. And I also want to echo the sentiments of everyone that spoke before me in that, congratulating the incoming class of 2025 for your admission. It's a phenomenal opportunity and should be very, very proud of your accomplishments thus far. Speaking of my experience in terms of acclimating to the Penn State community, I came from a fairly large public high school, and even then, admittedly, I had a lot of nerves about settling into Penn State and kind of finding my home here. And what I was amazed and surprised is how quickly it actually happened and materialized for me. What I found awesome about Penn State first up is just how cool how the community can change and develop over time. You just take, for example, on Saturdays in the fall, Penn State and State College kind of unite and become one giant community supporting Nittany Lions on the football field. But in general, what you find at Penn State is people with similar interests, values, and passions as you. And that only drives you to become more involved and invested with your own. For me, during my first year, with me being able to settle in and fit into this Penn State community really easily, it allowed me to kind of have some opportunities to give back to this Penn State community in a lot of ways. And one of those was serving as the vice president for the Schreier Honors College Student Council, where, funnily enough, our mission statement for the organization was completely centralized and kind of rooted in this idea of building community for our peers and our classmates. In the case of the Student Council, our goal really was to do this by planning and organizing fun and engaging events. So in terms of our role, we work to help new first-year students get acclimated to Penn State and the Honors College. We help them make friends, got a lot of rapport within the Honors College and the student council as a whole. And in general, we kind of just help these first year students find their place in the Penn State community, which, was the biggest takeaway for us. We served as mentors, we guided students, such as picking in areas such as picking classes, getting them involved in clubs that really interest them. And in general, what I found is these organizations and clubs that Penn State have, of which there are thousands, they're really meaningful and helpful in you finding that community here at Penn State, especially when you kind of get invested in them, spend time with them, and are able to lead within these organizations as you grow during your time at Penn State. It really helps you make change happen from the top down. One piece of advice that I actually mentioned on a similar webinar that happened last year for the class of 2024 was that you might have been told to make the most out of the things that you do at Penn State. But I like to always supplement that by saying and giving the advice that you should do the things that you'll make the most out of. It's really easy to get lost in the wealth of opportunities that Penn State has. But once you're able to kind of find the things that you love to do, you'll find that you'll naturally settle into your personal community, and you'll settle into our whole Penn State community as well.
Thank you, Ninad. And so, Aaron, you've been involved in a fascinating set of leadership opportunities, potential to take on an even bigger leadership opportunity, very involved in service-oriented activities. So what was it like to look at Penn State from the viewpoint of being able to do the things that you're really deeply interested in?
Thank you, President Barron. And also congratulations to the class of 2025. I'm so excited to see how your journey is going to shape out, and also hopefully run into you next year on campus as well. So I grew up in a Penn State family. Both of my parents went to Penn State. I actually didn't plan on coming here, but I didn't come to campus until my first prospective student tour. And the minute that I stepped on and saw just what student life is like, and how I could shape my next 4 years, I knew that there was no other opportunity than Penn State to make that my home for the next 4 years. My student experience has kind of been shaped by me not planning it out completely. And while that can be a little bit nerve-wracking in the beginning, I remember one of the first things that I did was I marked down the date of the involvement fair on my calendar back in June. I went and I weaved through the different tables, and I spent hours just learning about the different student organizations that I could get involved in my time. I've had absolute privilege of being able to be involved in the University Park Undergraduate Association, or the UPUA, which is Penn State student government for the University Park. I've been involved as a vice president of Omega Phi Alpha National Service Sorority, Moving On, which is one of the largest student-run music festivals, a homecoming captain, Thon Dancer Relations Committee member, and then academically in Schreier Honors College Paterno Fellows and Alpha Lambda Delta National Honor Society. So I've kind of been in a couple of different student organizations and been able to really see just kind of how much students are involved in the campus, and also making sure that while it is a big university, there's definitely ways to make it small and get engaged as well. And so I think my advice to the class of 2025 is, there's so many experiences and ways to get involved in at Penn State, and it's okay to go in not knowing exactly what you're going to be doing, because that's the best part of discovery and discovering who you are, and learning and growing more academically, professionally, and personally.
Well, thank you, Aaron. I'm a little worn out listening to all the things that you've done, but to walk in and say, okay, what will I do and how will I do, and then have such a rich set of opportunities to explore while, as a Schreier student, having an exceptional educational experience is just absolutely wonderful. Janai, I would like to turn to you next. You're a passionate individual. You want to make a difference. How hard has it been to focus on your passion and the things that really make a difference to you?
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying before even being able to focus on my passion, I had to find it, which that's why I find such interest in Aaron's statement about not planning things out. I was the opposite. I came in and I felt like I had to know what I was doing. And I very quickly realized that there's no way that I could know what I was doing. And by having that realization, I was able to really delve into several things. So it's not at all difficult to pursue your passion. A little bit harder to find it and to focus on it because there are so many opportunities at Penn State to decide what you truly are passionate about and what you can make the most difference doing is something that not that I struggled with, but something that I had to sort of find out kind of quickly, which wasn't extremely difficult just because of the community and support within Penn State. It was super easy for me to get involved with things like the Student Restorative Justice Initiative, which I'm currently the vice president of, which is one of my favorite things ever. And then to also find other passions, like my passion for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and being a founding member of the Multicultural Association Shire Scholars, as well as one of their directors, where we work with other organizations like UPUA and like Shire Student Council to really promote things that I have found that I'm passionate about, which I didn't originally know. And I think it's also really great in terms of directing relationships that you build at Penn State and directing my future career. Because now my career has sort of changed to be, I came in and I was like, this is what I want to do, law enforcement. And the more I thought about it, I was like, wow, law enforcement is kind of cool, but there are so many other cool things that I've learned about from being at Penn State in terms of like being a liberal arts ambassador and being a tour guide, which once you have information about tours, please come. Being a tour guide, which is something that I'm really passionate about. And then also like things like World in Conversation and promoting a diverse perspective and things of that sort. So it's not at all difficult, and it's something that I feel really lucky to be a part of Penn State while doing, because this is the only place that I think would give me the opportunity to do everything that I feel passionately about and do it to my full potential as a part of like making a meaningful impact as opposed to just being a part of something.
Well, thank you. That's also just an incredible set of activities, just a wealth of experiences that I know are going to have impact for a very, very long time. You know, it strikes me that some of you listening might be sitting back and saying, you know, in a pandemic, in a remote high school or an interrupted high school, am I ready? Will I be able to step in to Penn State and achieve my potential? And I just want to assure you that yes, you can. First of all, despite the fact that we're a tremendously large university, we're surprisingly personal and individualized. There are so many different avenues for you to find an interest, find a passion, step into your coursework with people that are here to make sure that you're successful, people that are here to make sure that you get a plan, you can do it in the right amount of time, and that you can reach the finish line. And whether it's the mentors and advisors or the course structure and tools that we give you, all of them are designed to help make you be successful. And I think you'll discover once you come here that we have students from all walks of life and all sorts of different opening opportunities as they've grown up. And we have a history of making sure that those individuals are successful and going on to great careers. Okay, thank you. I just thought I would add that. And now, Damon, beyond academics, beyond sense of community, what do we do to help students transition when they first arrive, no matter where they're coming from?
Well, as you know, President Barron, it is a big step to start college, but I think we do everything we can at Penn State really to ensure that all students have the very best chance to succeed. And those efforts begin well before students ever come to campus in the fall. Our new student orientation programs are very comprehensive and have evolved into a well-oiled machine. Our orientation staff and student leaders introduce new students to Penn State through various programs, and in the process, they introduce new students to one another, which is critically important. There really is no better way, I think, to connect a student to the university than by encouraging them to connect with other students and to begin to build those friendships that will last a lifetime. Our parents program is actively involved in welcoming both new students and their families to the university, and they sponsor a wide variety of initiatives with that purpose in mind. Students who live in our residence halls are certainly warmly welcomed and supported by staff members and other students who live there. And all new students, whether they live on campus or off, will find a variety of services and programs and resources that make the campus home and provide them whatever support and encouragement is required. So as you've suggested, academic counselors, student organization advisors, student leaders, staff members, and a broad range of services and programs, and certainly our faculty, we all share a deep commitment to creating a sustaining and welcoming and supportive climate on campus. We make a big university small by way of our openness and availability, as you suggested, and I think we make even our smallest campuses seem big by the way the remarkable collective and supportive spirit is created there. It's important, I think, for all of you and your families to know that there's no purpose more significant to all of us at the university than the success of our students. And I promise that we will do all we can to support you, to welcome you, to encourage and nurture you, and to see that your choice to join our university community was the best choice you possibly could have made.
Well, that's well said, Damon, and I appreciate it. Scarlett, maybe you could provide some comments or examples of how it is that this big university focuses on the individual student.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've heard it iterated several times today with Aaron and Anad and Janaya and others, right? Penn State is a large community. It's a large community both on campus and off campus. And I don't know, maybe it's the Nebraska girl in me, but I see this huge university and I really feel like we make this small town feel within our programs. I mentioned earlier that while we have a very large engineering student base, we provide one-on-one attention to our students and our smaller class sizes from the first year on. I also think that one of the ways I really love to engage with my students is through advising sessions. So these are one-on-one conversations that we have with our students where we really get to know them and what they'd like to see their pathways for their careers be. Whether it's someone who wants to go out, like Nanad was talking about, make a big impact in industry, or someone who's toying with the idea of, do I want to go to grad school or not? Of course, you know, these conversations can cover topics like what classes do I take next semester? So we kind of cover the basis there. But we really try to provide career mentoring such that our students feel comfortable and confident in pursuing what they envision for their careers. You know, I have students right now who are lined up to take summer internships with companies like L'Oreal and Disney, and we talk with them about which opportunity should I take, and then how do I get to the job that I want to get to? So what should I be doing as a student to build up my resume in that? One of the things I always mention, which again, our wonderful students on this panel today have brought up, is how important it is to get involved in student organizations. And to do it early, and to find the ones you're passionate about and stick with those ones. But getting involved early provides students with the opportunities to develop into these leaders in the campus organizations. And those are the things that really make students stand out when they're in the job market. So we have those one-on-one conversations and advising with our students. I think something too that you might not think of is our faculty are advisors of student organizations. So for my first 5 years at Penn State, I was the advisor for Phi Sigma Rho, which is an all engineering sorority. And through that, I had lots of opportunities to engage with the members of the sorority and provide impact career advice, other advice. And so we got to know them through that as well. And then lastly, I couldn't take this moment to not talk about our research opportunities and helping pair students and guiding them into the research opportunities that they'd like to see to have an impact on community and society. I always really suggest and support students who want to publish research as an undergraduate student. I know that's something I did as an undergraduate student, and it really takes, you know, these things that you're working on, these ideas that you're working on, and disseminating them to a larger body to have that impact in the world around them. So I think that we do an excellent job at trying to build those connections, because honestly, they're just as important for the faculty and why we're here as they are for the students and why they choose to come here as well.
Well, thank you, Scarlett. In fact, it's in our mission statement, in service to society. and we live it. We live it in the classroom, live it in so many different ways in terms of people having impact. So, Jackie, we've talked a little bit about community, but perhaps you could describe some specific ways that a student can find their place at Penn State.
Well, I think we heard some really great examples today from
We have.
Aaron and Nanan. I think those are wonderful ways to find your place at Penn State. And I would like to echo some of what they said. Students find their place at Penn State when they pursue the things that matter to them and when they connect with other people in the process, and particularly when they connect with people who have different backgrounds than their own. I mean, when you think about it, you go to high school with people who mostly live in the same area where you live. But at Penn State, you develop friendships with peers who are here from other parts of the state, other parts of the country, other parts of the world, and you learn so much and you are challenged when you embrace the diversity we enjoy. And at each campus location, it's just a little bit different. So you have this wonderful opportunity to find your best fit. So for example, at Penn State Greater Allegheny, we have a really diverse student body. And one thing our students do to help understand that diversity is engage in unity talks. So these are student-driven talks that are focused on bridging racial divides and understanding one another's experiences in the world. The students lead the talks, the students participate in the talks, and the faculty and staff also participate. And so this year, the students focused on questions about how comfortable they felt in their own skin, questions about activism, and next week, the Unity Talk will provide an opportunity for reflection on the past year. One other example I'll give is through our programming for first generation students. So about half of the students at Greater Allegheny, as well as many of the faculty and staff, and even myself, are the first in their families to go to college. And so our faculty and staff wear these pins, I have one on today, so that students know there are others around them who are also first in their families to go to college. And we have special events for everyone to share their stories as first generation students, and for students to ask questions and learn more about how to navigate through college. And every campus has special programs just like those I've described. And so, like I said earlier, you need to find the best fit for you, but you have this wonderful opportunity with many campuses that are part of Penn State.
Thanks, Jackie. And I've heard wonderful things about the Unity Talks, and I appreciate you introducing that topic. Clarence, maybe we could switch gears a little bit and answer a question that is probably on a lot of people's minds, which is what are the jobs like at the end of a Penn State degree? Or you might say, you know, this is an investment, so what's the value of a Penn State degree?
So actually, I have to build on what Aaron and Janiyah said. And it seems a bit, contradictory or against the grain, but it's completely consistent with answering that question that you've posed, Dr. Barron, which is think about the things that you're passionate about, not just in terms of student activities that you would engage in, though of course that, but also in terms of the types of courses that you take, the kinds of conversations that you get involved in. So I know Janiyah mentioned, for example, the World in Conversation, really important, wonderful program that talks about topical global and domestic issues affecting our global community. I'll say that. And my advice is always to, figure out what you're passionate about, and you can build a career around it. Long before I stepped into this role as a faculty member, on a number of occasions, I was asked by students to write letters of recommendation, either to graduate school or to different kinds of jobs. And in all of those letters that I wrote, the question was always coming from either a prospective employer or a graduate admissions committee: is this person curious? Does this person think critically? Can this person work independently? Is this person comfortable engaging with people unlike themselves? All right, all of these things are about these skill sets that we don't necessarily think about as being skills, but that we attain just through our journey of exploring and experimenting. And I promise you, if you take the advice that you've heard from Aaron, from Janiyah, just sort of talking about their trajectories, it works. You will find your path. And when you find your path, you can build your career around that. And I'll add this as well. We're no longer, if I may, in an environment where you leave college, or many generations before that, high school, and then you moved into a job and you were in that position for 30 years. That is really a passing stage of history. Most of you, I'm speaking to our incoming students class of 2025, many of you are going to be involved in creating your own economic and job opportunities. Many of you, when you take positions, you might move at different particular periods of your careers. So the idea of being adaptable and being comfortable with creative change is increasingly an important quality. And if you allow yourself the opportunity to explore and to experiment, I'm going to use those words. And I'm a parent, so I'm saying this as a parent as well. So I'm not being abstract, but as a parent, those are really important things at this stage in your lives. Do this, and you will find your path to many different kinds of trajectories after you leave Penn State.
Clarence, those are wise words. I so much hear the same thing. Okay, Penn State, great education. Oh, your students are engaged in all these worthwhile activities. And these skill sets of communication and critical thinking, you add to that passion for what you're doing, and you can have a great job at the other end. And we see that in so many Penn Staters, and we look for the proof, and there's a couple of really interesting ones. Penn State ranks number 2 of all U.S. universities in the number of CEOs of major companies. We also have consistently ranked in the top 5 in terms of where recruiters go to recruit because of the student population that they have to recruit from. So these are great statistics, and we also put effort into helping you find that job. So Damon, maybe you could tell us just how does Penn State help students find jobs?
Thanks for that question, President Barron. I think you know that I love to brag about career services at Penn State. And you're right, of course. We have consistently ranked at the very top of all universities in the country in our ability to prepare students for careers and ensure that employers see our students as the very best prospects for their new hires, whatever those may be. And we do essentially the same thing, I should say, for students who choose to continue their studies in graduate or professional schools. Career service professionals at every campus are eager to meet with new students as early in their college careers as possible. So I encourage all of you to make career services one of your first stops on your college journey. Doing so allows our staff to get to know you and to help you think through your areas of interest and career options, to develop specific strategies for pursuing your career aspirations, and in partnership with academic advisors to create the course plan that Clarence was talking about that will lead to the vocational outcomes you seek. In addition, we host a remarkable collection of career fairs each year to make it easy for you to connect with employers for either internships or full-time positions, depending on your circumstance. And at University Park, we actually hold one of the largest career fairs, if not the largest career fair found at any school in the country each fall, and students from all campuses are encouraged to participate in that fair. There are also career fairs throughout the year, more narrowly tailored to the particular types of employers and academic disciplines that may be your focus. And really the range of employers who are seeking both full-time employees and interns at Penn State is quite remarkable, yet it seems to grow in both size and diversity each year. And whenever I talk with representatives of companies that come to Penn State in search of new employees among our students, they consistently tell me that they know when they come here that they will interact with students who are academically well prepared, but they also know they're going to likely find some of the most engaged students at Penn State. And it's that engagement outside the classroom that often sets our students apart from others. So with that in mind, I hope that you'll take full advantage, as others are encouraging you to do, of all the opportunities that Penn State affords you to pursue the dreams that bring you here.
Well, thanks, Damon. I'm absolutely agree. The career services and the opportunities provided is a wonderful part of the success story at Penn State. You know, we also talk about our institution being flexible and meeting you where you are. So, Jackie, perhaps you could describe how it is that our campuses contribute to our flexibility.
Well, I think one of the most amazing things about Penn State is the flexibility and access it affords. There are 20 campuses across the Commonwealth that provide access to Penn State degrees, and the courses you take at any location apply to the degree you wish to pursue. So we see students who take advantage of the opportunities at multiple campuses through their time at Penn State as they pursue their degree requirements, their internships, and other opportunities. When I was an undergraduate at Penn State, and maybe for some of your parents, it used to be that there was a 2+2 model where you spend 2 years at a campus and then you go to University Park. But that's changed over the past number of years, where students might start at one campus location and then go to another campus location, and then maybe go to a third location. So really anything is possible. And I think one of the other exciting things to me most recently is that we have 3 student teachers from the College of Education who are currently living in our residence hall at Greater Allegheny because they're completing their student teaching in the McKeesport School District. And my faculty appointments in the College of Ed. And so it was just really wonderful to know that we had student teachers at our campus as well. So again, just the flexibility, the mobility. At Penn State, you have access to just a broad range of majors, minors, and certificates. And when you combine those with the vast opportunities that exist to engage in clubs and organization and other kinds of student engagements, you really can customize your Penn State experience. So I encourage you to dream and ask questions, because I think really anything is possible here.
Thanks, Jackie. I appreciate those comments, and I would like to add a little bit more about the level of flexibility at Penn State. Many people may not realize that we've had a world campus, remote education, for more than 20 years, and it's consistently been ranked in the top 10 of baccalaureate online programs, as well as graduate programs with an exceptional reputation. We've made the investments in the technology and the support services to deliver courses that are online. And it's interesting to me because this served us well over the last year, but it also helps us meet students where they are. We will offer asynchronous remote and synchronous remote classes in the summer and some in the fall. And our students appreciate it because it adds flexibility to what it is that they're able to do. As a matter of fact, when we talk to students, they tell us over and over again what they love is that personal Penn State experience that comes from being on this campus. But they also love the flexibility that they have by having their schedule include some online courses. So just that history alone makes us an institution that is flexible and is able to meet students where they are, whether it's World Campus, whether it's our many campuses, as Jackie was describing, or whether it's the face-to-face education that we have at University Park. We can meet you where you are. So one other topic of great importance to me personally is one that you've been working on, Clarence. How is it that you have, or what have you been doing to work to make all students at Penn State have opportunity and feel welcome?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Barron. As you know, I have the pleasure of serving as one of 3 co-chairs of a select commission on racism, bias, and community safety that you brought together. And part of our work, or a big part of our work, has been, how would I describe it? Offering recommendations, but also trying to do practical work around making Penn State a place where our learning and teaching environments, certainly for our students, but also the work environment for our faculty and staff is as equitable and inclusive as possible, so that Penn State is more of a place where everyone can feel it that they're welcome, that they're valued, and that they can be successful and thrive and be their best selves. This is obviously part of a broader conversation that goes beyond the commission and the work coming out of that. That's coming from campuses, that's coming from from colleges and other units, and really thinking and reflecting, and more importantly, acting to always ask the question, not just simply what are we doing, but what can we do and do better. And so I'm just really honored to be part of that work, and I think it's really helped to further promote a discourse, conversations, activities to make for a better Penn State. And that work, it's ongoing work. That's not something that exists in a particular timeline. It's something that we have to continue to do as a Penn State community. But I felt very confident that my colleagues, students, and staff are up to the task. And I think there's a lot of really good work that's continuing. More has to occur. There's no question about it. And I really take my hats off to the students who've been very active, as I hope you all will be, those of you who are in the class of 2025, in that ongoing work to make Penn State a better institution after you leave than the institution that you found when you arrived.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Damon, would you like to add anything?
Well, perhaps only to say that the university is a dynamic place. It's continuously evolving as the world evolves, and our students are equal partners, I think, with the faculty and the staff in making the changes that improve not just the university community, but the world beyond. And I think that's the most exciting part of joining Penn State. The change we all want to see in the world often begins in America's universities. And when you come to Penn State, you really are joining a collection of people who are seeking new ways for us to live and work and play together to make the world a better place for all. And in the end, what could be better than that?
Thank you. I now would like to talk a little bit about how faculty and advisors and others have helped you along the way as a student. So maybe, Ninad, we'll start with you on how advisors and faculty have helped you.
Yeah, great question. I think it's been said so much today that Penn State is this huge university with so many resources. And as a result, it's also one with so many accomplished faculty and so many different roles and positions, that some of them that we have here speaking with us today. And I've just been amazed that despite, how many people there are at Penn State, how easy it can be if you put yourself out there to actually create and foster these relationships with faculty in your department, professors from your class, and really anyone at Penn State. Kind of echoing what Dr. Miller said earlier about undergraduate research, one of the best decisions I made throughout the course of my undergraduate career here at Penn State was to join the current research lab that I work in. And it's been awesome because I've been able to tie together my passions for healthcare and engineering and put that energy into some really exciting research projects. I've been also, more than just doing the research, I've been able to develop this really close relationship with both the professors that are the heads of my research lab. And I'm actually currently working with one of them as I finish up my senior thesis, which will be is going to be published as well in the coming months. Not only has she been so important in guiding my research and the methodology behind that, but past just the academic side, she served as a great mentor and somewhere to answer any questions that I have about really anything and clear up doubts in my mind about my career path. And I think, the most interesting thing is that because she's so relatively early in her career as a professor, I think she's a model example and a great inspiration about what Penn State graduates can achieve right coming out of college, regardless of what career path you take, whether it's to go to grad school, to go to law school, medical school, or go, pursue a job in industry. She's contributed so greatly to my development as an engineer, along with so many other professors that I've had, which I'm, super, super grateful for. And to kind of add on to that, alongside faculty, I think advisors have played just as impactful of a role in shaping my Penn State experience. I know we were talking a little bit about career development and career advice. And I would say career advisors, both within the Honors College and the Career Services Department at Penn State, they both really allowed me to have success outside the classroom and applying to a lot of internships and full-time positions. I've worked closely with advisors that have helped me develop, helped me write my first college resume, my first cover letters for, the very first internships that I applied to. And they kept, following up and providing feedback as this resume and these cover letters got more detailed and in depth as I moved through my years at Penn State. Career Services is pointing me to recruiting events, job opportunities, giving me some really great interview tips that I still use today. And I think thanks to their guidance and assistance, I've really been able to secure throughout my time at Penn State, dream internships, dream full-time positions that I'd been really thinking about since I came to the school. It's actually a pretty big reason why I chose Penn State in the first place. In general, I'd say the defining characteristic of faculty and advisors here at Penn State is, they're really committed to your success. People are willing to help you pretty much at any corner. And especially with how big the school is, there seems to be someone specialized in just about anything that you might be interested in. So when you think about community as an oncoming student here in the class of 2025, you might be convinced to just think about just other fellow students, but I would encourage you to kind of get a more holistic view and think past that and think towards the faculty and advisors that can play an impactful role in your college education as well. They've played, like I said, a huge role in supporting my goals throughout my 4 years at Penn State, and I'm just as confident that they could play the same role for you all as well.
Thank you, Ninad. Aaron, how about you?
Yes, absolutely. I think just the level of support that both students, faculty, staff, administrators, advisors, and the entire Penn State community, alumni alike, have provided me throughout my entire Penn State career has been absolutely unmatched. Whether it be students within student organizations that are willing to help you develop your personal goals and also kind of give advice on their professional and academic careers, to turning to a student in a classroom who's willing to just give you a pencil when your pencil breaks in the middle of math class. But also faculty members who are there to give you that knowledge and set you up well for your career, but also willing to meet with you for office hours and develop and find your niche within your major and your niche within your passion as well. Advisors alike, advisors who are advising student organizations, or for me personally within Schreier Honors College and the College of Liberal Arts, I've been able to kind of get that individualistic and unique guidance that way. I think one of the most kind of hands-on experiences that I've had having support from the Penn State community is my experience leading the Women's Empowerment Roundtable this past year. So the Women's Empowerment Roundtable is a university-wide roundtable that looks to basically just bring together students from across the Commonwealth, as well as faculty, advisors, and staff to talk about just how we can empower and uplift women in the Penn State community. We meet about bi-monthly and we talk about things from female entrepreneurship to promoting Black feminists and how we can really just engage and support females also within different college majors and career paths as well. And so I think if there's anything that shows what the Penn State community is, it's people taking their time out at least 1 to 2 hours every other week just to talk about how we can support each other. So you'll find that in many different aspects of Penn State. And I encourage the class of 2025 also to find ways that you can support your peers too and how you can uplift them. But also know that there's people out there supporting you along your journey and looking out for your goals and interests as well.
And Janaya, folks that helped you along the way in your path?
Yeah, I really like this question, this conversation, just because whenever we're talking about support, it always goes to students. And as far as advisors, I have several advisors for several majors, and they're all fantastic. They're all like so much. If I have a question, it's an immediate email, a response as soon as possible. And then I'm also a peer advisor for the College of Liberal Arts Academic Advising, where I've gotten to know advisors a little more from working with them constantly. And it genuinely seems like they really enjoy being a way to support students, like not just like making your schedule, but also like, oh, I have this student that needs this question. And even if they don't know, they'll go to another advisor and be like, oh, like, do you know this? Like, I'm really trying to help this student. And I really like that sort of community and just support from advisors. And then also speaking to faculty, I'm in a social justice fellowship that's a course. It's CI 385. And I have my professor for that course is not only like an advisor for the Students for Restorative Justice Initiative, but he's also just like a really cool guy. And I talk to him really often about career. He's a lawyer. I really thought I wanted to be a lawyer at one point in time. So we've had lots of conversations about that and just the support. And then in terms of like other organizations that I'm a part of, it's like getting to know them on a personal level, faculty and advisors does well for you like as a person, not just as a student. Because even when I first came to Penn State, I'll say I'm not the most social. I wasn't. I am now. I'm not the most social person in terms of asking for help and needing support. And once I came here, it was almost impossible for me to not do that because everyone is so willing and open to help. And my favorite thing to say about Penn State is that everyone here will help you. Like if you have a question, they'll answer it. And if they can't answer it, they'll find someone who can, just to make sure you're reaching your full potential and doing all that you want to do while you're here. And even after you leave here, we want the best for Penn Staters, future and former.
Well, thank you. Thank all three of you for those comments. I also want to make a couple of comments about the international audience we have here today. We truly value students from all around the world. You're a rich part of the fabric of Penn State. And we know that some of you may have challenges in arriving in the summer or fall. And I just want you to know we will work with you to make sure that you have a plan and that we can help make sure that you're successful. The world is changing. Vaccines are becoming more common. We have a federal administration that is very open to international students, and so I'm optimistic about what will happen. But I do know this: we have an Office of Global Programs. They're wonderful, and they're there to help you be successful, help you develop that plan. And if you have specific questions, I encourage you to contact them. I think you'll find them to be quite responsive. Well, this has been a great discussion, hopefully with valuable insights from these Penn Staters. But before we finish, I want to go around and ask everyone to give a quick answer to this prompt. If you were to sum up how you feel about the Penn State community in one word, what would it be? And then you can take a couple of extra words to say why. Damon?
I would say grateful. After a year of stress and loss and really strangeness for all of us, I am deeply grateful to be a part of a university community that is so caring and thoughtful and filled with interesting people, especially our students who are always striving to do more and better in the world. It's a place that lifts you up.
Jackie?
I would say life-changing. I'm a Penn State alumna, a first-generation college student, and the Penn State community has changed my life in so many ways. But I've also seen firsthand how it changes the lives of others in the 21 years I've worked here, including students, faculty, staff, and the people in the communities where our campuses are located.
Clarence?
I would say evolving. As I think about the last year, there have been a lot of challenges, a lot of crises, but I also see the possibility of a lot of opportunities coming out of that.
Scarlett?
I think I'd say family. I think Penn State provides a sense of family across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I always find it funny whenever I travel because I really feel like that family goes with me. I can't say how many times I've been in an airport and heard like a random "We Are" chant when I'm wearing a Penn State gear, or introduced myself at an international speaking engagement and had someone come up to me afterwards to tell me that they were a Penn Stater. I think the Penn State family is strong, and I really do feel like it only continues to grow and continues to develop as you move through the university.
And a nod.
Yeah, I would use the word united. I'd say whether it's cheering on our sports teams or coming together during this pandemic, Penn State's community always has found a way to unite under common causes when needed. I think all Penn Staters support Penn Staters, and this really allows you and makes you a lot more comfortable when you come here to find your home here.
Aaron?
Yes, I would say empowering. I think the opportunities to develop yourself academically, professionally, and personally, and the amount of support systems that are there to do that and forge your own path is really empowering as a student. And
Janiyah, you have the last word.
Nice. My word is growth. Actually, for reasons similar to Aaron's, I think that Penn State, or I know that Penn State is a place for not only academic growth, but for personal growth, and even for students, faculty alike, and then also as a university, we are growing. And I'm really excited to see what we grow into in my lifetime, at least. And I know that will continue after them.
Well, wonderful. That was fun. I think everyone can see how much we all value and appreciate this Penn State community. I want to thank each of our participants for answering questions today and thank each of you for tuning in. I'm excited about these Penn Staters and what they have done to give you a small glimpse into the Penn State student experience from their perspective. As you've heard, you can accomplish big things and thrive as a part of this community. You'll find many ways to get involved, become a leader, and achieve your dreams. And along the way, we will help you with the resources and support you need to succeed. While the world may still be dealing with uncertainties, we want you to know we're prepared and ready for you. A Penn State education and experience is really very special, and we're committed to you and every Penn Stater. We will continue to provide more information for you to have a smooth introduction onto your campus. And this event will be archived at class of2025.psu.edu for future viewing should you choose. Thank you all again.